Merry Christmas, everyone. Welcome to the DraftCast. On this episode, Tom is back to discuss the latest league standings and hopefully give us some statistics on the overall league performance so far. How are you, Tom?
Hello. Yeah, good, thanks. Good to be back on. Feels like it's been quite a while, actually, since last been on. It's nice to be invited back. I was worried I wasn't getting an invite, but it's just in time for Christmas, which is nice.
Yeah. I think last time you were on was coming up to the end of last season, so you were in your title contention.
We just finished the season, so it was almost like a recap of it, almost, of the performance. Yeah.
How is fatherhood treating you?
Yeah. Well, he's currently. Little baby Toby's currently with his mother downstairs, but who knows? This might get interrupted. You might hear some crying, so apologies if that does happen. But these things are so. But it's good. It's good. Massive learning curve, but it's very, very rewarding, and probably what life's all about, really. So it's really enjoying it. It's good.
It's good.
I've now got 2 weeks off as well, so first day off today and got 2 weeks to go back, so hopefully I can try and help Clemency, as I do feel a bit bad that even though I'm working from home, she definitely is doing really well, but it's definitely harder on her, I would say.
No, I'm jealous of
mainly
you.
because I can't feed him. Do you have 2 weeks?
No,
everyone has 2 weeks.
No, just the 1 week.
Just the one? Oh wow. Working you hard.
Yes, indeed. Yep. Right.
So congratulations as well on you since we last was on the pod. I think with your new news as well with the house.
Yeah.
For Christmas. So that's big steps. I see that the pods are really taking you up in the world, and you've been able to now afford a house through the podcast, which is
I wish
exciting.
it was that way. Yeah. But the DraftCast will be moving. Yes.
Yes, moving locations. Yeah. Have you got plans for? Is there a particular room you'll have the new studio in? Yeah.
There's some plans. I'm not sure if the room's big enough to fit my plans, but we'll see when I get there. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. Okay, league table standings, and I think it's very interesting at the moment, considering there's been a lot of games not playing. So, but the top of the league. There's not much in it, is there, between you, Adam, and Will?
He's managed to keep his number one Christmas spot, which is nice. Adam Peaky Blinders with 809, and close behind, I think, myself and then Will. So within 7 points, we've got three managers. We're just before the midway thing, so we're on game week 18. We've just finished, so we're about just shy of halfway, but three managers all in the mix within 7 points is quite exciting, and teeing up to be quite a spicy run into the second half of the league.
Yeah, definitely.
He's done well. It's not. I'm pleased to see Adam at the top for Christmas. It's nice
definitely.
that probably won't last for really long after Christmas with such high competition behind him. But it's nice that he's had that chance. He probably deserves it a little bit of luck, so that's nice.
Yeah, there's a few sort of battles for position going off. Max is sort of sitting on his own in fourth, and then you've got Jack and Jim in sort of tussling for fifth, and then there's me, or George Lawrence and myself tussling for seventh.
Yeah, there's quite a few separate battles going on, isn't there?
Yeah.
What's amazing though is we're getting game weeks where we're getting people with 16s, 18s, 19s, 2 from Rich, and we're getting other people with 49s, 30s, 35s. Yeah. So it's quite a big difference in points. And then, like you said earlier, was with all these postponed matches, the league is definitely shifting around quite a lot. It'd be very interesting to see how that works when all the postponed matches come back into play. Whether that's having the impact on how the league standings look like, and you would think so, but it'd be interesting to see what people start doing, because there's a lot. I think when I was looking at it, it's the big playing teams. It's like the Liverpools, Chelseas, Man Cities that have kind of played all their games, and they're the ones that a lot of people have in their squads as their main point earners. So as soon as we start getting those double game weeks, people are going to be dropping those players out of the squads. I don't know. It's some say it's a myth, the double game weeks. Some would argue otherwise. But it'd be interesting to see what people start doing, because if people keep hold of all those main key players, I don't think many of those really have double game weeks.
No, that's true. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see.
They bring in a lot of points anyway, so you have to weigh it up, I guess. But maybe people will be a little bit more brutal on who they drop and who they just keep on a whim.
Yeah, we'll see, won't we? So before we move on, I've got a couple. I think we should do a couple predictions. We're sort of halfway. Say next game week would be halfway, wouldn't it? But we'll make some predictions for who do you think is going to be the overall winner of the season, and who do you think is going to be bottom of the table at the end of the season?
Why don't you tell me who you think is going to be the? Well, firstly, bottom place. I'd struggle to see anyone beating Rich. He's crawled it back a little bit over the last few game weeks. He's had a bit of a mare with the postponements recently.
Yeah,
but he's still got about just shy of 100 points to make up, and it's not looking like that's going to happen anytime soon. So I think Rich is nailed on for his second wooden spoon. I think he'll be on. But go on, I'll let you tell me who you think is going to finish top, and then we'll come back to my prediction maybe at the end after the stats.
Okay. I'm going to say Adam because I want Adam to win, not because I've looked into it at all. I've not looked at everybody's teams.
Your heart says Adam. I think a majority of the league would like Adam to win something, after having such a terrible 3 seasons so far, and then being pipped in the final of the cup this season. You kind of feel like it's his time. Hopefully, I think everybody feels like we'd love Adam to do it. I feel like it's a lot of pressure starting to build on his shoulders, though.
Oh, definitely.
I don't know whether that's going to start to play games with his decisions. Is he going to start questioning himself? Who knows?
No,
is he going to start tinkering too much? Is he going to stick with the squad that's done him well so far? Hopefully, all that pressure doesn't just lead to a big crumble. But we shall see. What does your brain say if your heart says Adam? Does your brain also say Adam?
I'm not. I don't think I've got enough information to make a sort of technical
we can
estimate. If you
do
like.
that after some of the stats, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go there. Let's go to the stats, Tom. I know you're itching to show us.
Yes, as always, I have prepared some stats for this. By popular demand, is some managerial stats. So as you can see, it's quite overwhelming. We've got league position versus game week across the top there, and league position down the left-hand side with the first place in the league being at the top and 12th place being at the bottom. So lots going on, and as usual, we see a big changing in the early days of the game week, where people are kind of finding their rhythm, finding where their spot is. But let's walk through the managers. As usual, trying to see if there's anything interesting going on with the managers as we look for just shy of the first half of the season. So no particular order, but let's start with Max. So we can see Max I've just highlighted him in bold. Fair play. He's doing well. There's a bit of a question. Is this beginner's luck? I feel like we've seen this before, maybe. I feel like there's a lot of similarities between, I think, yourself last season, Luke, and what I'm seeing with Max. There's quite a lot of things been going his way, like bringing in the top forward as a free agent from Watford. And you can see slowly, he's done well. He's been keeping up there. He's had, I think he's had the most top spots in terms of number of game weeks. Not consecutively, I put in there, but he's had the most top spots. He started to drop off a little bit as some of the managers started coming through. So is this going to be a general trend going down now, or can he hold on? I'm not sure, but there's a lot of similarities to what I saw with yourself last season. And where did you finish last season?
Second last.
Second last. So let's see how it goes. Hopefully it's not beginner's luck, but maybe that's where my prediction is with Max. What are your thoughts here? You been giving him any advice or?
No, which is probably a good thing.
All right, let's have a look at the next one then. Okay, got Richard. I mean, we probably want to move on quite quickly, really, don't we? I mean,
yeah, he won't want us hanging around on this very long.
Other than atrocious, or otherwise known as Classic Rich. Like, I'd like to say it started well, but it didn't really start well either. I mean, he was only one bit off the bottom at the start.
Yeah.
And it's just stayed flatline for the whole first half of the season. So carried on his form from last season straight into this season, which is not what we wanted to see. I don't know what's he doing wrong. What do you think he's doing wrong? What would your advice be?
I don't know.
Is he thinking about it too much? Is he, taking people out too quickly, or what?
I don't know.
Quite knowledgeable. Maybe he's dug the hole and now he's trying to get out. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think because last season, I think there was
Ronaldo
a lot of
was probably an error, but I don't know.
Oh, very contentious there. I'm sure he'll be happy you brought that up. Yeah, let's hope he can narrow that gap. But that's a huge.
It is a huge gap.
I don't think we've ever seen a manager flatline this badly before. Probably since season 1 with Team Road War. But let's not go there. Anyway, next manager. So Will, as I like to call, never walks alone Northgate with his Beatles. I mean, yes, he's doing quite well at the moment. He's still in the top 3. Is this sustainable? I mean, if people seen his team with his 4 Liverpool players, is it sustainable? You see where you've got these dips, that's probably where Liverpool done badly. I'm just, if you know, what we find with Liverpool, as soon as they start conceding, he's got 3 Liverpool defenders at all those points disappear. And those since Virgil van Dijk has been out, that's kind of that last 3 game weeks, that's where you see him plummeting. So he's just, to me, he's too vulnerable and it's just not sustainable. So I think he's probably had to his best run in the first half, Northgate this season, and I think that will start dropping off towards the latter half of the season.
Yeah.
Would you disagree, or what are your thoughts? Do you think having 4 from one team is too many, or do you think?
I mean, we've seen it before. Okay? We've seen people with like 5 City players, haven't we? Before, so it's not. Yeah. I think we've seen this type of thing before, but it is, it's a risk, isn't it, to put all your chips in one place? I guess. Yeah, I guess we'll find out, especially when the AFCON starts, and then if Salah goes away.
Wow. Yes, it's a good point. I think if I was Northgate, I would start trying to trade some of those players out whilst you can get some good value back.
Yeah.
Anyway, next manager, George. So I didn't know how to describe this. I've kind of put he's found the equilibrium of the team. I started high, dropped low, went up, went down, went up, went down, and now he's kind of flatline. So I find he's maybe found his equilibrium. Maybe he doesn't like me saying that because his equilibrium is 7th place. Not quite top half, but he seems to have found his natural line point now, and then has just been staying along that path. So it looks like he's kind of set to stay in that mid-table 7th, maybe fight for 6th position. Which I don't know. Would George be happy with that? I think he kind of feels like he should be in top half. I think he'd probably be happy this season if he gets top half, and then next season really push for those medals. Maybe a little bit more to go to get that. Yeah, I think that's an improvement on where he was last season, though, from what I remember. I think that is it's a bit of a better trend. I think he was quite at the bottom for a lot of last season, as in towards the bottom.
Probably quite a similar trend, but just over the first half of the season, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm rooting for George. I think he can get in that top half. So let's see how he gets on. All right. Next then is Ben. So I've described this as thank goodness for Rich. I mean, Rich is making Ben look good because I think Ben is also having a bit of a mare. He did have a little bit of a dabble in the middle there, where he jumped actually up to the 7th place. But I think Rich is making Ben not look as bad. But if we took Rich out, there'd be more talk about how Ben's not so good run so far. It looked promising at the beginning. I thought, he's fourth after the first game week. Maybe something there. But I just think he had number one pick, didn't he? This of the draft with Fernandez, and it's just not gone that well compared to last season. I think he's not been bringing in the points at all, really, has he?
No.
And then once your first pick, there's a long wait. What is it, like 24 picks, whatever it is, to the next pick?
Yeah.
So maybe he's really felt with that first pick not doing as well as you would expect, and then having to wait so long, the team just maybe isn't as rounded as he would want, having to play probably the free agent game a little bit. But yeah, I mean, who knows? Can Rich close that gap, or can Ben push to third? Maybe we'll have a look a bit later at the end of the stats. But yeah, not looking great. But be worse. Could be Rich. So let's move on. Then you've got what I like to call continued dominance. So, Team Row, end of last season, we saw there was a dominant end to the second half of last season from Team Row. Starting this season, Team Row brings home the El Presidente Trophy win, and now you can see in the league he's now continuing that performance. So, I'm very excited to see what the second half brings of this league. Team Row's still on for the treble, which has never been done before. Not even Northgate has done the treble. So let's see what goes. I like to think there's a lot more to come later in the season as well from Team Row. It's only just getting started. A very well balanced team, but again potentially vulnerable to these double game weeks. I think majority of my team is Liverpool, City, and Chelsea. I think they've got any double game weeks. So who knows? We might need to do. But Team Row obviously does live a free agency, so we'll see. But I think, to get to this position, the strike force I had, and now with the strike force I've now got, which I don't know if you're aware, Luke, there's been some major upgrades to the Team Rush front line. I'm feeling really positive going into that, because I think that was probably my maybe weak point. I don't know, maybe weak. But now, with that new front line, I feel like I can really take this through to the end of the season and bring back the money. So excited, yeah. Any thoughts, Luke? Would you agree? Dominant? What would you say?
I'm not sure dominance is the word, but I'll let you have it.
I'll take it. All right, let's have a look who's next. Lawrence, or otherwise known as Bear, to the WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
The way I've described this is fourth season, won a cup. I would expect better. This isn't Bear's first rodeo. He's got trophies in the cabinet. What's he doing down there in 8th or even 10th for quite a while? What's he doing? I don't know whether he needs to reflect on this and really give himself a bit of a kick, but he should be doing better than this. So hopefully he can turn that around. He looks a bit wavy. It doesn't look like he's going anywhere anytime soon, but I'd expect better. Yeah. Do you think Bears can get in top half this season?
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, everybody. I mean, we've already looked at it in the league table. That mid range it's not too distant from us that are in sort of 7, 8, 9. So it's doable.
Yeah, at the end there, he's been two in and fro with yourself. A bit of jostling, isn't there, between you each game week? So maybe that's the battle to look out for between you two. Right, let's have a look at the next one. Adam. Yeah, so 4 seasons in the making. Never had finished up till 2 game weeks ago in the first place after a game week, and now is 2 on the trot. I mean, we know the current record is 10 consecutive game weeks. I don't know who holds that, but that's a very hard record to beat that one.
Yeah.
But he's got 2. This is the first time he's ever even got to that top spot. So it's an exciting time for PK Blinders.
I mean, to beat your record, he's going to have to stay there now till the end, isn't he?
That's going to be, especially when you've got such tight top 3 points, that's going to be very hard to beat that. But, he's obviously doing something right. He's been putting in the right players. I think he's been very shrewd with some of his transfers in terms of league trades, but also free agencies and some really good pickups. So fair play, and I think he probably deserves that top spot for Christmas. But we've had to wait 4 seasons for this. But hopefully, this is his time. This time to shine. But it's quite a nice trend you see there to that graph. He started a bit like wavy, but he's really got that nice gradual kind of going up towards the top. So
Yeah.
there's no sign of him letting off the gas just yet. So definitely one to watch, as we would expect, and probably one of Team Row's ones that he's worried about. But I think I've got it under control. But we'll see. Yeah, I think that this if we overlaid this with Adam's trends last year, it'd be like almost an inversion of the graphs. It's like it's looking a lot better. Probably what we'd expect to see. I think
it's what we want to see. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. And we've got Jack. I mean, Jack's over. What's Jack's credentials? This will be his third season, is it?
Yeah.
I think, and he's got a league win under his belt now. And, I mean, he started a bit shaky, didn't it? Look at that, kind of just fighting around the bottom there for quite a few game weeks. But then did a real big push. Must have got a massive game week haul of points in game week 9 there. To that massive jump. But he's kind of flatlined around that 5th spot now for the last 8 game weeks or so. So I think that's probably a little bit to do with there being that gap in the league. So it's a question of, can he bridge that gap, or is he going to just always be afloat from the main pack here, from the main front runner? Sorry. So I think there's a bit of a gap there. But Jack, he's got a league win under his trophy. If anyone can bridge that gap, maybe Jack can.
Yeah.
But we'll have to wait and see, because I think he's just taken a big hit with his number 1 pick from the draft. Basically never playing again. Seems like for Arsenal. So how that's going to impact him, let's wait and see. But a bit of a challenge on his hands, I think, to even try and get a trophy at the moment. But he's got money in the bank in terms of his performances to date in previous seasons. So who knows? He could be a late surge. Let's wait and see. I've described as he seems to be rebuilding after a catastrophic start. So, I mean, I say catastrophic start. He did start well, top after the 3rd game week. Fair play. But you see that is probably the worst decline I think we've seen in the graph so far. Like, he was really plummeting, and only due to Rich's incompetence at the bottom there did he not actually hit the bottom. But after game week 11, he's turned it around a bit and he's rebuilt. He's rebuilt and then got that solid base, and he's kind of flatlining just below, playing a little tussle with Jack as well, the two of them, I think.
Yeah.
But he's kind of started to get on a bit of more stronger ground with his team, I think. Maybe he's done a few good trades. Maybe lately, can't quite remember, because he just so many, and so many of them are a bit questionable whether they're decent or not. But he seems to be flatlining. So maybe he's got more of a sound base, and maybe he can build and kick off again from there, or he might just be destined to toggle with Jack until the end of the season. But yeah, very interesting. I'm not quite sure what happened after game week 3. After hitting that top spot, did he trade someone out? I don't know. But that is, he was in such a good position to then have such a nightmare. Something major must have happened, or injuries, or I don't know. But yeah. It's not traded his best players out yet, though, has he, James? I don't think. Or has he? Or am I? I think he's maybe the second half.
I traded Vardy from him for De Bruyne, who then didn't really do much. So you could say that was a bit of it's gone my way a bit.
Yeah, not as bad. Normally he offloads into Jack, but with that tussle between the two of them, he's probably not wanting to give Jack his best players this.
Although I did
time.
give him Maddison, who's now turned it around a bit. So
maybe that would be maybe that's where it started upticking again. Is that, I don't know, maybe I have to look back at the data. Okay, anyone else to go? Who we got? Tolly. So what I've described here is 3rd in a 2-horse race for bottom place. So as we all know, there's 2 guys who are very much at the bottom there, Rich and Ben. It seems Tolly might be a bit of an outsider to really actually hit the bottom. So let's see a bit later on when we look at some more of the stats there on some predictions. But it's not looking great, is it? It's a very nice trend down. Probably the nicest one we've seen. Very gradual. I think the advice here, Tolly needs to start doing some good trades, some trades that people might actually accept rather than moaning about other trades, because he needs to change this team. This team is not working from the looks of this. So hopefully this can be the wake-up call he needs to make those better trade offers. But we shall see.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we've got yourself. I looked promising until the plummet.
Mm.
So you look like you're doing well. Then you're consistent for third place for a while, and suddenly a big drop after game week 8, which was when quite a few people did some big jumps. And then you kind of hit bottom, and now you kind of plummeted down, and you're the bottom half of the league, and having those tussles with Lawrence and George. So yeah, I mean, what would you say about your performance when you look at that?
It's not great. I think if the games
trades
hadn't been
overlaid with this,
don't know. I'm happy with most of the trades I've made and free agents and stuff. I think it's just like the games that have been cancelled hasn't helped the last couple of weeks. So I feel like I was on a bit of an upward, and then all some games being cancelled.
Oh, it looks like 10 to 13, you've had quite a nice trend up, but maybe you've suffered like a few of us in the last 4 or so game weeks.
We'll see. We'll see.
Hopefully you can do better. Hopefully, you might want to consider some of your other trades as well, free agency game, and take advantage of those double game weeks, because being towards the bottom, you get those earlier picks in the free agency. So you might actually in January, we get these transfers. So let's see. Sometimes it's worth a bit of a gamble towards that area of the league. Hopefully you can get push. Where would you like to finish this season? Obviously you'd want to finish top, but what would you be happy with, do you think?
I mean, anything higher than second last is improvement on last season, so I'm happy.
Oh, that's true. Hopefully you could aim a bit higher than that, maybe. But,
yeah. I don't know. Top half would be nice, but we'll see.
Top half, yeah. Let's go with that. Let's, with some shrewd free agency pickups in January, you could easily push for top half. So let's see what happens. So that's a bit of a manager overview. And as usual, I thought we'd look at how the points between managers has been changing throughout the season. Then maybe move on to some predictions as well, as I know we all like a good prediction. So this is a similar graph to what we've seen before. It's the difference in points between managers. So I've normalised this for the bottom place manager. So between the top place manager you'll see and the bottom place manager, and in between, and then on the side you've got the points above last position.
Yeah.
As you can see, Rich flat line there across the bottom, and a lot of this trend you see, what looks like some managers doing quite well, and with upticks of and inclines of their data, it is more Rich declining and making everyone else look really good. So I haven't managed to do it yet, but maybe at the end of the season we might have a look. But it might be useful for me to take Rich off this graph completely. I don't want to upset Rich, but it might help see the data a little bit. So Rich is making every other manager look really good on here, but we could have a little bit of a look at what's going on. So let's do a bit of a dive into this. So what I put is very tight up to game week 9. So we've only had 18 game weeks, just under halfway, and then so half of 18 being 9 game weeks. There was only 62 points between top place and second to bottom place. This was a really tight, compact, and that had stayed like that probably for like 5 or so from the beginning. It hadn't got wider than 62, and it stayed like 62 for quite a while. So it was really tight. Then suddenly after game week 9, after we kind of got through a quarter of the season, it just started spreading out, and you can see here that then a big increase in points range. So game week 9, 62 points, and then only another 9 game weeks, we've now got 182. So it's a disparity between, you've got twice as many game weeks, but you've got 3 times as many points range. So there's quite a big shift of what's been happening in this second quarter of the season. And maybe what do we think that's down to? Have you got any thoughts? Maybe to do with some postponements, maybe to do with some injuries.
I mean, definitely the last couple game weeks you'd get to say that, but it's sort of going that way before anyway. So some people have clearly made some good team moves.
Staying very tight, compact, and then suddenly maybe we'd be getting. Maybe there's been some game scores where we're getting like the 7-0 or 5-0. Maybe those have come in, so there's been some mega points being earned recently, and maybe it might start closing up again. Because I think if I remember from last season, we had a similar situation where it really started to spread out, but then towards the second half of the season, really started to come back in as well.
Yeah.
So who knows? This might be the widest range it actually gets to and starts closing. But it's quite interesting that we're starting to see this big points range now, which we're highlighted here by gaps starting to form. And I think, as we discussed earlier, you've got the big gap between second and third from bottom and Rich, but then you've also got kind of then that middle pack with is it yourself, George, and Lawrence. Then you've got Jim and Jack playing Tossle there, and then you've got also Max kind of out on his own, which is always a hard place to be to keep motivated.
Yeah.
And then you've got that really nice kind of separation, and then you've got those top three really going at it. So yeah, you can start seeing these gaps, but these gaps do open up, then they cross over. But making those jumps is tricky, and it is hard. But let's see what happens. I think going forwards.
Okay.
So as we've always with this, we like to make some predictions here, and hopefully I won't get too much grief, but I always do. But these are just some predictions to help motivate people maybe to improve or give some people some ideas of what might happen, and we can always review these towards the end of the season and see how good these are. So what I've done is I have taken the last 6 game weeks. So the first half of the first quarter of the season, so up to gaming, people are kind of finding their place. You're finding which players play, which ones don't. So there's a lot of changing in the first bit. So I didn't want to try and include that too much. So I've taken the last 6 game weeks as a good idea of maybe what people are doing, where everyone's kind of settled down their team now, maybe, and I've used that to get a bit of an average of what your form might look like. So let's show what the projection would look like. So it's some really interesting stuff here. So see, if we project 6 game weeks form, we actually see, shockingly, I know it feels like this every time I come on, Luke, but shockingly, Team Row pips Adam to win the league this season, which very interesting. Now, I didn't quite expect to see that myself when I ran the data, but it's good to see that we're on the right trajectory there. Hopefully that might inspire Adam to push on a little bit more, but Team Row to take the win by the looks of this from these projections, which is interesting indeed. Will drops off the pace a little bit there. I think a very interesting one there is also Jack seems to drop away a little bit and gets pipped by Lawrence and also James,
and
which
George,
is interesting.
Looking at that as well, by the looks of it.
And George, and George as well. So maybe Jack needs to start looking at his form, because if he carries on the way he is, it's could end in bottom half for him. But what's really interesting, I find there, is second and third from bottom. And pips Tolly. Tolly actually ends in second to last place. What's quite interesting as well is if you look at the form of Ben and Tolly, their line is quite parallel to Rich's, which mean they're actually not doing much better than Rich, and they're probably on the same performance as Rich, really, if they were to start at the same place. So if Rich can turn around his form and improve his form, he might actually close that gap quite quickly, because it looks like their form is also not very good, and probably Rich has already started turning that around and flatlining compared to theirs. But they're the projections. You got any thoughts yourself, Luke, on those?
It's always interesting. I think like that middle pack all sort of switching around is quite interesting.
I think last season there was quite a few that were actually quite close. I mean, obviously these are just straight lines, but when you looked at them, there's actually a majority probably were quite close. But then there's a few people that completely buck the trend, and obviously something turns around completely. Maybe different pickups they get, and they start scoring hat tricks, or they get goalkeepers that score goals. All these types of things. So, but the average, a lot of it does actually happen. But this is obviously looks like the gaps are just going to get bigger and bigger from this projection.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's see if someone can turn that around, and maybe doing those jumps across those gaps is going to get harder and harder as we go through the season. But yeah, that's some data for everyone, some stats, and hopefully provoke some questions. Look forward to getting people's feedback, and let's see how this turns out at the end of the season. And maybe we can do a little bit of review to see how it ended up versus what we predicted.
Yeah, definitely. It'd be good to get you back to do that again, to update it, and then do the final few weeks prediction, hopefully.
Yeah, I was also if I get time, I was hoping I might be able to, at the end of the season, look at people's seasons this season versus last season to see if there's any similarities between them, or to see if they've been quite different. I thought that might be quite interesting, having 2 seasons worth of data to look at.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, anything's interesting to look at. I'm trying to think what. Yeah, so it's gonna be close between you and Adam, then, isn't it? Because you two could be swapping first and second all the way along, and it could come down to the final week.
It's very tight. Yeah, we know within a 1 game week you could easily, unless you're like probably over 50 points clear, maybe 30 you might be safe, but who knows, but yeah, we're within like 20 points of each other's prediction. It means it really could toss between us for the whole thing, and who knows really. I'm sure Adam will be looking at that and feeling a bit of confidence as well, saying, I want a good trajectory, stay within it till the final game week, then anybody, who knows who could win.
Yeah
You got to be in the battle, haven't you?
That's
to
it.
Win. So hopefully this is encourage a few people to make some changes as well. Maybe this one, maybe there were some positivities for Rich to take away from that final bit of data. Hopefully he can get some positives from what might not have been the best segment for him to watch. But good luck is all I can say, Rich. Hopefully January brings you some nice gifts.
Yeah. He's gonna have to sweet talk someone to get some trades out of them, isn't he? Or some good.
Yeah, trades. I wouldn't say Rich is known for his sweet talk either. He doesn't seem to ever normally come off better with his trades. He's but who knows? Who knows? Maybe someone's feeling generous.
Yeah. No, good.
And that's it from me in terms of my segment.
Great. I always do enjoy the graphs, Tom. I can't lie about it.
Good getting the graphs and the visuals is good, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is useful.
Just
wish I had more time, but with
with
the baby, it's hard to find the time to wrap Christmas presents and look after the baby and do podcast stats. You've got to get that balance between things. So.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, hopefully towards the end of the season we'll have some more interesting stuff to review.
I'm sure we will. It will. Yeah, if anything can happen. So I look forward to it. So if you're looking forward to seeing how this goes, make sure you subscribe and keep listening on to get the updates every couple of weeks of how the league's going. I'm looking forward to having you back, Tom, to get those updated stats as well. So yeah, I think we'll finish there. It's Christmas after all, so yeah, Merry Christmas, Tom. Hope you have a nice break.
And you enjoy the new house.
I will do. I am very excited. I'm also sort of dreading, as we record this now, I'm thinking, when am I going to actually get to edit this? But if you're listening to this, that means I managed to do it somehow. And so
expect this. The editing of this is the number one priority on the list. Compared to moving house, I imagine this is top priority. So I'm sure we'll get there.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. I'm sure I can work my magic and get it done. But yeah, if you've been listening, thank you very much. Please subscribe and like the video, and leave a comment down below if you think Tom's predictions are going to come true. And all we can say is this is the DraftCast, and remember, draft is life. See you next time.